But speaking about effort, I want to move on to our next game, which is the Detroit Lions, speaking of them, and the Los Angeles Rams. It's Matthew Stafford's return game to Detroit.
Yeah.
These two quarterbacks were involved in a little trade.
Yeah.
Jared Goff on the Rams, Matthew Stafford on the Lions. In 2021, you swap them. Jared Goff was considered a contractual piece just to get rid of. He wasn't supposed to be this guy who comes in and makes the playoffs and stabilizes the Lions quarterback position so they can build around him, which they have been doing.
Yeah.
And yet, lo and behold, here we are. Each quarterback playing its former team. I think this is going to be a good game. I want to know, will the Lions disappoint Matthew Stafford and his return game to Detroit? Who you have winning this game?
I have the Rams winning this game. I have Matthew Stafford, the assassin, coming into his old stadium and his old team and beating the Lions by a score of 31-28. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. Both offenses are high-powered. I think the other reason I think the Rams will win is the coaching. Sean McVay's had a fantastic year coaching. He turned Kyron Williams, and nobody had ever heard of, into a top running back and wound up with over 1,000 yards rushing. So they've got a very good running game. He took Puka Nacua, a rookie, turned him into one of the best receivers in the NFL, and now Cooper Kupp is healthy, and he's out there with him. So they've got firepower on the wide receivers, and Matthew Stafford having one of his best years, healthy all year. I think the Rams are on a roll here. They won 7 of their last 8 games, and I do think the coaching with Sean McVay, knowing Jared Goff very well, and Jared Goff knowing that Sean McVay knows him very well, is going to have Jared Goff worried out there, and I think he's going to have the butterflies. I think he's going to make some turnovers. I think he's going to play down to where he played sort of when he was with the Rams, maybe a little better. And I think you'll see Dan Gamble making all kind of some crazy decisions out there, going for it on 4th down and things, and that will cost them. And I do think that the Rams will win by a field goal.
So for me, I said before the season started when we were doing our standings predictions, which we haven't done in a while, but why would we? We did the last time we did was in week 8. I believe in my preseason prediction, I said something that a lot of people were wondering if it would happen or not based on last season, and I said that I expect the Lions to do something they haven't done in 30 years, and that's win the NFC North. Check. I said they would win a playoff game, which they haven't done since 1991. And here's where we are. They're in the playoffs. Check. Now they're playing the Rams in a playoff game. And so what do I expect? I'm not backing down. I'm going to be honest. I don't feel good about this pick, but I am indeed picking the Lions to win. I agree with you. This is going to be a high-scoring game, and I do agree with you that the Rams will score 31 points. I just have the Lions edging them out just a little bit and scoring 35. I have the Lions winning 35-31. Now, if Sam Laporta, who was banged up this week and expected not to play, really it was questionable, he was at least at practice. He's questionable to play. My guess is I'm hoping he does. Because if he doesn't, you get rid of a security blanket that you relied on a lot this season. When the Lions were making that come-from-behind near win against the Dallas Cowboys, who did Jared Goff say, he's out there somewhere, let me throw it to him? It was Sam Laporta. Going down the field, one of the best tight ends this season. If he's not out there, I'm nervous. I'm scared. Very, very scared, just because the security blanket is a very reliable tool for each team. Travis Kelce, Mahomes, Brady, Gronk, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Brock Purdy, CMC. The security blanket is a beautiful thing. If you don't have that, I don't know if Jared Goff is the quarterback that could overcome it. Lamar Jackson, we've seen. When Mark Andrews out since week 11, we've seen what he could do. The offense has exploded. You go up and you beat the Miami Dolphins. You go up and absolutely dominate the San Francisco 49ers. That's how great Lamar Jackson is. I don't know if Jared Goff is that guy. And we'll see if he can't go. What I will agree with you here is Kyron Williams, who I kept mentioning on my Harvey Hot Hand every time I picked the Rams. He had a tremendous season. Started 11 games, Nearly, he had 1,100, a little more than 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. And that's for a guy that came into the league last year. He's a second-year player. And last year, he really didn't do anything. 35 carries, 139 yards, no touchdowns. He had 6 first downs.
Sean McVay did. He got his offensive line better, and
Correct.
Their offensive line was terrible last year. He resurrected that. That's another reason why Williams has had such a good year. And another thing I point out is the Lions' pass defense, number 27.
Yeah. Going
up against Stafford, it was a very good passer, and those receivers who are two of the best out there, Kupp and Nakua.
Yeah.
I really think that the Rams have got the edge here, Nate, and they're going to find a way to win the game.
I don't know if Penei Sewell, if he's matched up against Aaron Donald, can hold up. Now, Penei Sewell is a phenomenal offensive lineman, but Aaron Donald is arguably one of the greatest defensive players we've ever seen. I don't know if he'll be able to hold up. So what that means is we need Jahmyr Gibbs, or I'm saying the Lions need Jahmyr Gibbs, who, by the way, had a tremendous season, nearly 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. David Montgomery, who had 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. They are going to need to be the stars of the show. Because if they're not, we look at the run defense for the Rams. According to PFF, they're number 7. And if you talk about the total defense of the Rams, if you now talk about PFF grade, the Lions on run defense is 12th. So this is a pretty decent run defense. If David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs cannot help you out for the Lions, it's not going to look good. I'm not going to feel good about my pick, but I'm not backing down. I will go down with my ship, because if I somehow make this prediction where they do what they haven't done in 3 decades and a little bit more, it's going to feel pretty good to make a preseason prediction and nail it. I'm 50% of the way there. This is not a Super Bowl team. They do not, like you mentioned, they do not have the defense that is required to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't love it.
I don't dislike Jared Goff. I like him as a quarterback, but I think he's got to be very nervous because he knows Sean McVay knows everything about him, right?
You can't really say that Dan Campbell knows about Matt Stafford because he was there for a second. You don't have the prior coach that coached you back when Matt Stafford was in his prime.
Yeah.
And that's where the Lions know Matt Stafford just based on, if you look at their history, he was there from 2009 until 2021.
Well, the other thing the Rams got going for them is experience in the playoffs, right? They did win the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Yeah. So I just think that the Rams have got the edge here. It's going to be interesting. I completely agree with you. I feel bad for the Lions if they do lose the game because they have waited a long time for this playoff game, and it is at home. But we'll see what happens. I do think it's close. I've only got a field goal difference here.
Go Lions. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.